begin with inspiration from Ernest Holmes. Spirituality is a consistent attempt to feel the presence of God in everything and in everyone. Next, Pam Grout, when she began to quit thinking, start thanking, experience true transformation. She wrote, I tried to think my way out of problems. I tried to analyze what was wrong. All my thinking was a trap. It wasn't until I began to actively look around at all my blessings that it dawned on me. Everything is exactly perfect just the way it is. I am exactly perfect just that way I am. I call it being on the frequency of joy and gratitude. It is the frequency where miracles happen. Let us affirm the sacredness of life together. Every aspect of life is sacred expression of spirit. Thank you. And now I'll bring up Reverend Kathleen.
There we go. Okay? Lovely. Ah, yes. What a month, huh? What an amazing month. A month dedicated to Thanksgiving, and this entire month dedicated to the mundane, the profane, and the sacred, oh my. And so we're here at the oh my, because the oh my is waking up to understanding it's all sacred. It's all sacred because everything is an emanation of God. So each one of us, radiant, vibrant, unique, individualized expressions of the one. And the thing is what we're truly exploring here is the impact of dividing and categorizing and judging things as different. You know, that here's the sacred and here's all the stuff that's not sacred. Here's the stuff that is God and here's the stuff that is not God. That the impact of that is profound. And all we need to do is look what the major issues on the planet are. Environmental destruction, pollution, social injustice, conflict, war. All of these things are human thinking gone awry. Human thinking that is based in separation and categorizing and dividing and somehow getting into this idea that things are separate, they're separate, and then that there's something that's godly and something that's not godly and all that nonsense. And so this month truly then is to wake us up to that and any ways in which we might still be doing that so that we can break that mindset of separation. And we do that we break that pattern by becoming aware of oneness. That's my first thing I'm going to be talking about. And number 2, grateful living. Perfect for this month and perfect really for a lifestyle. So I'm not saying gratitude. Notice I'm not saying gratitude. I'm saying grateful living. This is a really big concept. I'd like to begin with a story told by Sharon Flesher. She's a Tel Aviv University professor. And so these are in her own words. She said, it was my first day at school. This was years ago when she was younger. I felt nervous and scared. I went to all of my classes, but no friends. It felt like no one cared. I listened anxiously to all the lessons and waited for lunch break. Then finally, the bell rang. In the lunch line, I met a new friend who wore a hijab on her head. And though I am Jewish, we got along fine. And so I was so relieved when she asked me to sit with us at her table. She pointed to the one next to the door, so I agreed and took my tray and was about to walk across the floor when suddenly I felt a nudge. "Hey, I saw you on the bus," said a tall girl in a long skirt. "I see your Jewish star necklace. You should sit with us." At that moment, I looked around. That's when I noticed, to my surprise, the nations of the world isolating themselves. The Spanish only sat with the Spanish. The Hindus only sat with the Hindus. The Russians sat with the Russians. And the Arabs never sat with the Jews. I saw the reason why war gets started. Everyone sticks to their own kind. The lunchroom was a map of the world. Why was everyone so blind? And so I turned down the tall girl and went with the first. I built a bridge between two worlds when I sat with those different from me. Let's breathe. Becoming aware of our oneness. That's the point of this story. Sharon woke up to seeing all the separation that was taking place. People sitting with their own groups, their own, whether it's religion, ethnicity, whatever it is, and realizing that was the root cause of all that ails us on this planet. Pretty profound for a young child. And I was just thinking about a quote by Ernest Holmes that comes from our Declaration of Principles. He says, "We believe in the individualization of the spirit in us, and that all people are individualizations of the one spirit." We are all sacred, through and through. And becoming aware of our oneness is a vital part of healing all that ails us on this planet, personally and planetary. The next is grateful living, looking for the good and giving thanks. How many of you are aware of Brother Steindl-Rast? Yeah, Steindl-Rast. I remember him from that beautiful YouTube video where he talks about gratefulness, how grateful he is for all these little, what we would consider maybe mundane things in life, and how that raises our vibration to continue to focus and to look for things to be grateful for. He calls this the value of grateful living. He has a website called Grateful Living. And he calls it a way of life that is transformative. And he says it's research-based, research-backed, that this mindset supports us through times of joy and times of adversity. Anybody for that? Something that helps you through times of joy and adversity? Yeah. So Ernest Holmes calls this way of living looking for the good. And the idea is that good is another word for God, and it's another word for sacred. So looking for the good, looking for God, looking for the sacred. And since all life is sacred, the good can be found even in the most challenging situations. So let me give you an example. This is a present day example. When the war in Ukraine started, the Ukrainians, children and adults alike, reacted in terror each time a rocket or a plane passed over. With time, however, things shifted. Soon they realized that if the rocket and the plane were passing over, their lives were spared. So they began to give thanks every time a rocket and a plane passed over. A true shift, finding gratitude in even what could be considered really challenging situations. So we attune ourselves with joy, with grateful living. And joy is a very high high vibrational frequency, a huge attractor field for good. I was thinking about the Dr. David Hawkins scale of consciousness, and joy is right up at the top. It's above peace and love. Love, peace, joy. Joy is up there. So that energy of joy then is cultivated by grateful living, a habit of looking for the good and giving thanks. It transforms our inner world, transforms our relationships dramatically. Looking for the good liberates us again from the patterns of judgment, the patterns of categorizing, and the blame and the shame and all the other stuff that goes on that keeps us stuck in patterns that are destructive to ourselves and the planet. And because we're in a frequency of joy, we feel fully alive in the moment, able to just enjoy what's in front of us. Brother David Steindl Ross says, joy is the happiness that does not depend on what happens in life. It's not dependent on conditions. Joy is an inherent quality of our being. And when we cultivate that recognition, we can bring joy into challenging situations and transform it. There are 5 guiding principles of grateful living. They are knowing that life is a gift. So when we greet each moment with gratefulness, we are in a receptive state. We are able to receive the gift of life. It's knowing that everything is a miracle. When we are in gratitude, we recognize opportunities that are right in front of our faces. Knowing that the ordinary is really the extraordinary or the sacred. Gratefulness awakens you to the sacredness in all of life. Are you getting the message? There's another one. There are 2 more. Appreciation, which is a form of gratitude, is generative. Generative. When you value something, appreciate something, it multiplies. And then finally, love is transformative. When you feel grateful, your heart blossoms and blooms and overflows, and you have so much love to give. You give from the overflow. So anybody not convinced in grateful living? Anybody? Raise your hand if you're not convinced. Okay. However, most of us, instead of staying in a clear, sweet channel where magic happens, this gratefulness energy, hit a road bump and immediately start worrying and ranting and raving and creating all kinds of static in our field, which blocks the flow of good. All that static, that kind of energy. Anybody know that kind of energy? Okay, so once we tune, here we go, ranting and raving. And when we rant and rave, of course, we are out of sync with the flow of creation because it's a clear channel, providing a clear channel so that creation and miracles can happen is what we're all about, right? Isn't that what we're all about here? That's why we all gather here together and hang out with folks who really are intending to be a beneficial presence on the planet, intending to experience more love, peace, and joy. So we're here to be a joy channel. So repeat after me, I'm here to be a joy channel.
I'm here to be a joy channel.
That didn't sound totally enthusiastic. Let's add a little more enthusiasm. I'm here to be a joy channel. 1, 2, 3. I'm here to be a joy channel. All right. Oh my. Oh my. Pam Grout tells the story of a friend, Jay, that illustrates what happens when we don't create static in our frequency. He accidentally left his garage door opener in a rental car that he rented while his car was being repaired. And he'd already turned it in, so he called the rental company, and they'd already rented it out. So then the next thing was he was going to meet a friend for lunch, and then he remembered, oh, that's right, when he looked in his wallet, he realized he was missing his credit card, and then, oh, that's right, I left my credit card at that bar last night. And the bar doesn't open until later in the day. So then he was thinking, how am I going to pay for lunch? And so then all of a sudden his 4-year-old son throws a temper tantrum. I mean, a huge temper tantrum. And so he stays in this place of gratefulness and love, and he kneels down and calms down his son. So all these things like happening all at once. And he said, I just stayed grateful and I trusted that all was well. So then what he was guided to do is to stop by the bank and pick up some cash. And as he was pulling into the parking lot, there was the rental car, and there was a man standing next to it on his phone. So he walks up. Remember, he's in this state of gratefulness, and he's open, he's receptive, his channel is clear. And so he walks up to the man, and he says, I left my garage door opener in this car. Can I look? And the man said, sure, why not? So he finds it, and yay! He has his garage door opener, and then he goes and gets some cash, and then he's guided, you know what? I think I'll go by the bar and just see if it's open. Sure enough, he drives up to the bar, and there, sitting on a step outside the bar, is the owner on his phone again. And so he goes up and he asks him if he can have his credit card, which he was able to do that. He was able to retrieve it. And the bartender says, you're lucky. I'm never here this early. I came here today because I came to let in the carpet cleaner. To which he replied, it's not luck. It's not luck. It was proof that magic happens, that when we don't create static and stay in the frequency of gratitude and trust, miracles happen. Everything lines up. Everything flows and unfolds. Anybody for that? So do you get it? We have to stop the static, the grumbling, the groaning, and stay in the frequency of trust and gratitude, trusting all is well. So most people are sporadically grateful. Grateful living is a commitment to a lifestyle of gratefulness, just like Jay so beautifully demonstrated. And here's a big hint. If you're criticizing, blaming, complaining, feeling tension, rushing, or in a bad mood, you're creating a lot of static. I'm going to say those again. If you're criticizing, blaming, complaining, feeling tension, rushing, or in a bad mood, you're creating a lot of static. So remember the principles. Remember that life is a gift, everything's a miracle, there is only the sacred, appreciation is generative, love is transformative. Loving all of life. Loving all of life, you just can't help but do something about the things that are going on in the world. There's a burning desire within each one of us to be the change we wish to see, to do something about ecological issues, so to step up into ecological stewardship. And we do that in our community by recycling and composting and all of the other things that we do. And we have to thank people like my daughter Michelle and Monica and Jenny Stewart for the part that they play in that. Inclusivity, step up and speak up for inclusivity, for social justice and beyond, which our community does. And the thing is we lay down the framework in consciousness, the mindset that allows us to step into that way of living and that way of being. And so I have a final story of what happens when we live in this beautiful state of love and gratitude. It's a story about a first grade teacher who gave her classroom a fun assignment to draw a picture of something that they were thankful for. Most of the class drew pictures of Thanksgiving food and festivities, but Douglas made a different kind of picture. As other children played at recess, Douglas was likely to stand by the teacher's side. One could only guess the pain Douglas felt behind those very sad eyes. When asked to draw a picture of something for which he was thankful, he drew a hand, an empty hand. And all the kids started guessing what the hand was that he drew. One said, well, maybe it's a hand of a farmer who raises turkeys, or maybe it's the hand of a police officer who protects and cares for us. Or maybe it's the hand of God who feeds us. When the children had gone on to their other assignments, the teacher kneeled by Douglas's desk and then asked him, so whose hand is that? And he says, it's yours, teacher. And so she began to remember all the times that she had taken his hand to walk him out to recess, to the lunchroom, the times that she would show him how to hold his pencil, or she'd just say, let's do this together. Douglas was most thankful for his teacher's hand. A tear rolled down her face, and she went on with her work. So let's turn within. Feeling so grateful in this moment for that which binds us together in love, in joy, in gratefulness. That presence that I call God, infinite life, omnipresent, omnipotent, omniscient, realizing that there is no spot where God is not. That presence is right here, right now, that unified field of love intelligence from which springs all of creation, including this entire universe and multi-universes and beyond. Realizing that we are the very life of God in expression, uniquely expressed. We are beings of unlimited potentiality and possibility. Life is a gift. Everything's a miracle. Everything is extraordinary and sacred. And love is the transformative energy of our hearts. So I am knowing in this beautiful, perfect, and present moment that each one of us stands in this beautiful opportunity to live a grateful life, to practice grateful living as a way of being, to look for the good, even when it appearance tells us otherwise. To realize that underneath all of this blossoming, ongoing, ever-changing creation is that one life, and that one life is who we are in truth. So let's breathe. Let's take it in. And let's, as we contemplate that, let's just think to ourselves, oh my, have I found the key to living a life that is full of liveliness and joy. Oh my. Say with me together, oh my. Oh joy.
Oh, joy.
Oh gratefulness.
Oh, great.
Oh love.
Oh, love.
Ah. And so with a heart full of gratefulness, I release this word to the action of divine law, understanding that this law always produces according to our faith and our word. And so I let it be and invite us to accept it with a powerful yes! And so it is! Woohoo! Okay, my friends. So, oops, here we go.